Hey guys, welcome back to Sparkman Homestead. My name is Krista. We are now on week 2 of the Pantry Challenge. I cannot believe how fast January is going. Normally January for me is like the longest month of the year. I feel like January almost has like 50 days in it. It just feels to drag on forever. But I think I have found a hack, for me at least, me personally. My kids unfortunately could not come home for Christmas, but my daughter was able to get some time off of work and she is going to be coming mid-January and staying for about a week and a bit here. So I have been anticipating her visit, so it is making the first part of January fly by, and I know when she is here, time is literally just going to breeze by. So the month of January for me is just going so quickly, which is amazing because come February, we are going to be starting garden preparations. Like I'm going to get some of my seeds started and I'm just excited. I'm really excited. Normally I get January blues, but not this year. I'm feeling like it's a good month, which is really awesome to go into the month of January with this happy feeling. The first week of the Pantry Challenge honestly is like a breeze because we have leftovers from the holidays and our pantry is full, our fridge is full, and it's easy. Like it's a no-brainer the first week. Like it's not even really like a Pantry Challenge. But come the second week when stuff starts to dwindle, like we don't have any more leftovers, I am finding that I am needing to have some type of plan. I am very much a type A personality. I thrive off of having lists. I make a list for everything. Anything you can imagine, I would make a list for it. So I don't have a meal plan in place, which is really actually now starting to frustrate me because I don't have a plan at the beginning of the day. I love waking up and knowing what I'm doing that day. So my project today is actually going to be sitting down and going through kind of a list of stuff that I have written down that I need to get used up right away. One reason why I like doing the Pantry Challenge is because I work hard all year preserving all of this stuff, and it doesn't last forever. So a lot of people are like, well, why are you depleting your storage? I'm not necessarily depleting my storage. I'm just eating stuff that I've preserved to eat. I did not preserve this stuff to sit on my shelf, although it is very pretty looking and I am obsessed with this view. But I didn't can it just to look at it. I canned it to eat it, and I canned it to eat it within the year and to save us money by canning it because I've gardened and worked hard to grow it all. So we want to enjoy it. It tastes delicious and I want to enjoy it while it does still taste delicious. So I need to kind of go through my pantry and go through my freezers and just write down stuff that really needs to get used right away. And this week I'm going to make a plan just kind of around that stuff that is an emergency to get used up because it's going to go bad if I don't use it. Now, mind you, this stuff is most of it I've canned this year, so it will last for, I think Ball recommends 18 months. Now we will definitely eat through most of this stuff this year. So today I'm going to make a menu. But one thing that I noticed when I went into my freezer to kind of see what meat we had, I noticed something that I don't know how it got away from me, but I don't even know if you can tell what is in this bag because there's so much freezer burn on it. These are strawberries and they need to get used. They are getting really badly freezer burned and I want to get them used before they're not usable and before they taste like before they're chicken food. So what we're gonna do today is we are going to make a strawberry lemonade concentrate. I've been wanting to do this a while, and one thing I've noticed is that we like to have juice with our suppers. And we're gonna go through our juice really quickly. So I wanna get some of this strawberry lemonade concentrate made so that we have that available to drink during the Pantry Challenge. Now, I found a couple recipes online and I also found a recipe in this canning book. So I'm gonna use this canning book today. But there are definitely recipes online and I will link one for you guys that is almost identical to this recipe. I'll just link it for you guys, but we're going to be using this today. It has a lot of sugar in it. Like it has 6 cups of sugar in it, which is a concentrate. So when we make it, we're going to be diluting it with water, but still I'm like, oh, can we get away from using that much sugar? Because there's lemon juice in it, that lemon juice is gonna make this safe to can. So the sugar isn't necessarily a requirement to have that much in there. I found one recipe online that actually said to use honey in it. I was debating maybe doing one with sugar, and then if we have any leftover strawberries, we can experiment and do one with the honey. Because we are using lemon juice in this, this is a water bath canning recipe, so perfect, it's easy peasy, love it. So we're gonna get started doing that. The recipe does not specify to use fresh or frozen. Most of the ones that I've actually seen online say it doesn't matter whether you use fresh or frozen. We have frozen. They were frozen at the peak of their freshness. These are ones that I picked either from my garden, or we have a gentleman at our church and he actually is a strawberry farmer. So we got a box of strawberries from him. So some of these are those also. They were frozen at the peak freshness, which is really, really good. So the first step of the recipe says that we need to puree the strawberries. So put them in a blender or use like an immersion blender and puree them up. The recipe is counting that you're using fresh strawberries, but we're not, again, we're using the frozen stuff. So I am gonna get my big pot, and what we're gonna do is we are gonna get these strawberries melting in this pot. Hindsight would have been that I took the strawberries out last night and let them defrost overnight, but honestly, I did not think of this until I went into my freezer this morning making a menu that I found these strawberries. So this is a very last minute decision. We need to have 6 cups of hulled strawberries. So just hulled means that your top is taken off of them, and let's see if I can get one out of here without making a big mess. Your top is taken off of them and the inside is taken out. When I froze these strawberries, I did not hull them. I just left them whole. It's fine. I am not going to be overly concerned with it. We're going to be mashing this together. And again, because these strawberries were super, super ripe when I froze them, other than the freezer burn smell, these strawberries smell amazing. All right, so we're probably going to double this recipe because there's a lot of strawberries in this. This is a gallon size bag. So the recipe calls for 6 cups, and I'm gonna get some lights turned on in here because it is super dark outside. It is 12:30 in the afternoon and it looks like it's nighttime outside. We're actually supposed to be getting a pretty big snowstorm come through on Friday. They were saying last weekend that we were actually supposed to get one as well, but we ended up just getting a little bit of ice. It wasn't that bad, but they're saying this Friday for our area, we're supposed to get about 3 inches of snow, which will completely shut my town down. We do not have the capabilities in our area to deal with that much snow. So we're thinking that this Friday we're gonna get snowed in, which I actually don't have a problem with. I'm Canadian, so I'm used to having snow like 7 months of the year. I have lived in California a little bit, and I've lived in Kentucky. I've also lived in Idaho, and I have found that I'm kind of missing the snow a little bit. Like I'm missing like maybe 1 day of snow. I just like to see it outside. It makes everything really bright and just, it's beautiful to look at. But I don't like it for a long time. I like it like maybe 1 week. I'm good with 1 week of snow, and then we can move back to summer. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we're definitely gonna double this. I'm gonna get my stovetop turned on medium. I'll show you guys how much is in here. We're definitely gonna be doubling this. That didn't even really, that's half the bag. We still have that whole bag over there. The rest of these I'm actually gonna put in here because if I put them in my kitchen freezer, I'm more likely to remember that I have them. One thing that I did on Sunday was I've been making a lot of these Dutch baby pancakes, which are amazing, amazing. I may probably make some more tomorrow and I'll video it for you guys and it'll be on next week's video. I made this really delicious topping to go on top of it. I just took some frozen berries and then added a little bit of maple syrup, a little bit of cornstarch, and I just kind of made like a syrup with it. And it's a really good way to use up berries if they're going bad, and it's just a really yummy syrup. I did not put very much maple syrup in it. I think I maybe only put like maybe 1 tablespoon of maple syrup in it because I really just wanted the taste of the berries to come through and I didn't want it to be overly sweet. Stirred so it doesn't burn. So yeah, I just wanted I wanted a topping that wasn't just, you know, the typical jam or whatever. So, and I noticed that again, berries going bad. I did not vacuum seal any of my berries this spring. And unfortunately, that's why most of them are now going freezer burn, because I just put them in these Ziploc baggies and air got at them. So vacuum sealing is definitely something I'm gonna make sure I do this spring when I'm getting my berries. We're gonna put the lid on this and we're gonna let this kind of get warm. Once the strawberries start to melt a little bit, we'll come in with our immersion blender and we'll just blend these all up, and then we can move to the next step. But what we actually have to get ready is we need to get our water bath canner. So I'm just gonna use my water bath canner, and then we're just gonna get some jars and we're gonna get those jars heating up while we make this concentrate. I'm gonna use regular mouth pint-sized jars for this recipe. It is giving directions for filling pint-sized jars. You can do it in half pint if you would like. I don't know what the canning time would be for quarts. You'd have to do research for that. I like to use the regular mason jars or the regular top mason jars. Whenever I'm doing anything that I don't have to like put my hand in, this is just gonna be something pourable. So that's what I like to use these for. If anything like pickles or anything like that, that I'm gonna have to be reaching in, I prefer to actually can in wide mouth mason jars for those. So I usually save most of these for these types of projects. As I'm putting them into this pot, I'm just kind of running my finger along the top just to make sure that there's no cracks on it or chips. Now the recipe says it makes 7. So how many do we have in here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So we have 9 in here. Again, we've doubled the recipes. I am probably gonna have to end up getting my counter canner out so that we can do the other in that. That's why I love having that Presto canner. Probably end up using this guy. This is just a Presto countertop canner in case we need more jars, which we most likely will because the recipe says it makes 7 pints. We'll have this as backup. So I'm gonna get this ready as well. I don't need the top because it will be water bath canning with this. So I need to get this filled up to the fill line. All right, we're gonna get this plugged in and ready. So this recipe is a water bath canning recipe for 15 minutes. So we need to get these jars warming up. So we're gonna get water bath, and I said 15 minutes. We're gonna hit go. We've already got the jars in. So we will put the lid on, get this warmed up. I'll put this away so I don't lose it. Check these. They're already starting to melt. We're definitely gonna have water in here, which is fine. Again, I have mine at about a medium-high heat. We need to get some lemon juice prepped. Recipe says 4 cups of freshly squeezed lemon juice. So I don't know if I have enough lemons to give me 4 cups. What we're gonna do is we are gonna sub it with lemon juice for whatever we don't have. A couple of recipes I actually seen online were pretty strict about making sure not to use canned lemon juice, but you know what? You just gotta use what you got. We're in the pantry challenge, we're not going to buy more lemons. So I have another bag in my garage, which we will go out and get in a second, but I'm just getting the ones out of here. Now, some of these, on top of me having the strawberries go bad, lemons are starting to also go bad. Oh my gosh, poor food management here. I do not like when stuff starts to go bad. That's, again, why we're doing the pantry challenge. We're gonna go grab the other bag, get it out of here. I have a lot of apples that are starting to go soft on me. Once we get done this project is I'm actually going to put them in the dehydrator. I made some dehydrated apple slices a couple months ago and they are the best. So all I'm gonna do is just take my apples. We'll use our apple coring machine. It'll take the core out, it'll take the peelings off, and then we will just slice the apple. And then we'll put them in the dehydrator. But that's gonna be after. Maybe we can do that once this is canning. But right now we have to get all of these lemons juiced. Oh, my hands are a tad bit dry because it's cold outside and my hands are constantly in water because I'm washing dishes. So this might hurt a little bit, and I'm debating actually putting some gloves on because that's a lot of lemons. So I'm gonna use this as a juicer. This I got from IKEA. It's just a wooden juicer and I love this. So I'm just gonna juice them all into this big bowl, and then what I'll end up doing, because this juicer doesn't get any of the seeds or the pulp out, what I'll do is I will strain them. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna use a different bowl. I'm gonna use this bowl. It's a Pyrex one and it has these pour spouts on them. It's a nesting bowl and I love it because you can just pour. So we'll use this one instead. Really smell these strawberries. We are boiling. I'm gonna turn that off, and we haven't even started the lemons yet. I'm just gonna actually take it off of the stovetop because they're definitely done. We'll leave that there while we get these done. I'm just gonna roll the lemons. It helps them to juice a little bit better. I'm actually just gonna also roll my sleeves up. I cannot handle wet sleeves. Drives me insane. I usually like to have a t-shirt on in the kitchen because I don't like wet sleeves and I don't like my sleeves touching stuff, but it is freezing outside, so I have my nice warm Dixon flannel on. These things are like wearing a wool blanket. It's amazing. And as I'm talking, I'm realizing I don't have my apron on. Okay, apron's on, hair's up, we're ready to go. We mean business now. Once the hair goes up, things get serious. Just get these lemons cut in half. You know what I realized? I actually shouldn't even be doing this in a bowl. We will get a 4-cup, actually we're doubling it, so we need 8 cups. We're definitely gonna need to use bottled lemon juice because we're doubling this and it calls for 4 cups of lemon juice, so we need 8 cups. Instead of juicing them in that bowl, I'm just gonna juice them in this so that we can measure as we go. I don't want to use all of these lemons though. I want to save some of them because I like to have fresh lemons in the fridge. So I'm probably going to leave the ones that feel a little bit harder. Probably leave these 3 in the fridge so that I have them. Let's get a juice in. So we're not gonna waste these these leftover lemon pieces. We're gonna put them into a half-gallon jar. And one thing I like to do with all of my lemon peels or orange peels is I like to put them with vinegar, and this makes an amazing cleaning product. I'll just let it sit for a couple weeks and just kind of infuse. And then what I do is I strain it and then put it into one of these things. I do half of the vinegar and then half of water, and then this is what I use to clean with. We got all of the lemons juiced. Looks like we need about 4 more cups of lemon juice. I'm just grabbing my sugar because, again, this recipe calls for a lot of sugar. We'll get those lemons strained in a second. I want to get this vinegar mixture done. I'm using this vinegar. It is from Sam's Club. This is a concentrated version, so it is a lot stronger than normal vinegar. Because I add this mixture with half of water, that's why I'm using this particular vinegar. It is a 5% acidity, just plain vinegar. This is not going to be used for eating. This is a cleaning thing. And then I'm using a reusable plastic lid for this. Vinegar will not be good if you use like a regular canning lid like this. Vinegar and metal do not mix, so I like to use plastic with this. And then what I do just over the next couple weeks is I'll just come and just shake this and do this with it. That way everything gets mixed up. Right, we'll get this strained out and then we'll top it up with canned lemon juice. Add it back to here. Just gonna use some of this, and then I have another jar too, because this probably won't be enough. We need 8 cups. And then we're gonna use this stuff. All right, we're gonna come in with our immersion blender and get these strawberries all blended up. I don't want there to be whole strawberries in this. This is not a recipe that you want that. Well, that looks pretty good in there. I'm not seeing any big strawberry pieces. Okay, so we're gonna turn this back on to a medium-high heat. We're gonna add all of our lemon juice. And then we're gonna add 12 cups of sugar. 12 cups. Because we're doubling it. The original recipe says 6 cups, but we're gonna go in with 12 and, oh, my spoon. We're just gonna say that this is a treat. It does smell really delicious though. The color is just beautiful on this. I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not, but it smells and looks delicious. We're just gonna stir this until the sugar melts. So we need to get our thermometer out because it says you do not want to boil this. You wanna cook it until it is just 190 degrees. We're at 92 right now, and there are clumps of strawberries in here. So we'll just watch this closely because it does say in like capitals, do not boil. I'm guessing it says not to boil because you have the sugar in there, and if you boil it, that sugar will start to become like a syrup and it will get really, really thick, and you don't want that. Now let's see what we're at. We're at 123. So we'll keep stirring it up. I just don't want the sugar to stick to the bottom of it. It's all dissolved already, but I just, because it is very sugary, you will definitely get, the sugar will definitely stick, so keep stirring it. I'm gonna give it a little taste test. It's probably gonna be pure sugar because it's not been diluted yet, but we'll just try a little tiny bit. That's really good. Ooh, I'm excited about that. That's really good. It's actually, I thought for sure it was gonna be overly lemony. It's not. Those strawberries really add the sweetness and as well as the pounds of sugar that we just added into it, but it's really good. This is a perfect time to make this. Like, you wouldn't think because it's definitely not springtime, we're in the middle of winter. But if you froze strawberries from your garden and you have them in your freezer, it is a perfect time to do this because lemons are actually in season. So you can get lemons for a pretty good price. If you are blessed enough to live in the southern states where they grow citrus, you are very, very lucky. But it's a really good time to do this because lemons tend to be a tad bit cheaper. I know we're in the pantry challenge. That's one thing that I actually gave myself an exception for, was a fresh produce. I'm gonna try not to buy it. I'm gonna try to use the stuff that we have in the freezer. I did say that I was going to allow myself dairy and fresh produce. Those were the two exceptions, but we are gonna try not to do that and buy them. But I did say if I need to, that is gonna be my grace with this challenge. I have a metal spoon out. Once this gets to the 190, we are gonna skim off the foam on the top of this. So I'm gonna use a metal spoon to do that. Just get out my trivet so we can put the pot on it once it's ready to be taken off. Oh, I also need to grab a ladle so we can ladle these into the jars. And I need to get a funnel. This is very, very, very sticky. On top of me not liking wet sleeves, I also hate having sticky fingers. That's why my hands are probably overly dry, because I am honestly washing my hands like a million times a day because I hate having sticky stuff on them. Okay, let's see what we're at now. We're getting close. We're at 165. Okay, we have to be getting close. It looks like it just wants to come to a boil. I bet you we're at 190. I bet you we are. Yep, we are definitely at 190. So let's take it off, turn that burner off, and we're just gonna skim off the foam on the top and just put it in this bowl. Okay, I'm not gonna get too picky with it. I'm gonna keep this in the fridge, and then I'm gonna have this tonight for my drink. I'll just mix this with some water because I don't want to waste this. This is perfectly fine. It's just not really good for canning. We'll get our jars out of the canner. We are going to leave a 1/4 inch of headspace with this. Right, we got them all filled up. So I'm just gonna come through and just kind of debubble really quickly, make sure there's no like little air pockets sitting at the bottom. There most likely won't be because this is liquid, but this is just force of habit. I just always debubble. And then I'm also just gonna double check my head space and make sure that we're all good there and readjust if anything needs to be readjusted. I see a couple that I probably need to add a little bit more to. We have this much left over, so we'll just use this to top up any that we need. This one's good, this one's good. Probably get topped up. That's good. Probably needs a little bit more. There we go. Ooh, I have a little bit left in here. I'm excited. Okay, I have a wet, clean rag, and I'm just gonna clean the tops of these really, really good. This is super sticky, and you do not want that to interfere with your seal. We'll get our lids. And we'll get our lids put on. And then we will get our rings put on to fingertip tight. Woo! This ring looks a little wonky, so I'm gonna actually throw it out. Do not want to use that and then have a jar seal failure. And then we'll get these put into the water bath canner. Look at the color of these. Oh, I wish the camera picked it up. So beautiful. These are gonna look amazing on the pantry shelf. I love having pretty things on my pantry shelf. A lid put on it, get it turned back up. Then we're gonna get that guy to a rolling boil. Once it's to a rolling boil, then we're gonna set our timer for 15 minutes. After the 15 minutes, we're gonna turn the burner off. We're gonna take it off the burner and take the lid off. And we're gonna let those jars just rest in there for 5 minutes. Then after the 5 minutes, we'll come and take them out of here. So I'm super excited about this project. I can't wait to have these on my pantry shelf. This is, like I said earlier, this is such a good option to do if you have frozen strawberries or any berries. You could make like a raspberry lemonade. That would also be really good. And you know what? I think I have raspberries in my freezer that are starting to also get freezer burn. I might do a raspberry lemonade. Ooh, that would be delicious. So I'm gonna wait for these to do their thing. What I'm gonna actually include in here, I think I mentioned it at the beginning of the video, I have been recording all of my meals so far that I've been making in the pantry challenge. I was going to put together just one like voiceover video showing you all of the meals, and I still might do that. But what I'm gonna do while those are canning, I'm gonna include one of our meals. I'll include last night's meal in here and show you what we made last night for supper, because it was one of my favorite meals. And then once that's done canning, we will be right back. One of my favorite meals that I have actually not made in a really, really long time is just a broccoli chicken Alfredo. It is such a super, super quick come together meal. This is done in under 30 minutes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 2 chicken breasts. This is less than a pound of meat. Again, it's just me and Steven eating, so we didn't need very much. So I'm just gonna chop that meat up into about 1 to 2 inch cubes. You just kind of want bite-sized pieces. And then I'm gonna put some salt and pepper on it. And to a cast iron skillet, I'm just gonna add some tallow and get that melted. You can use whatever type of cooking oil you have. Just with the pantry challenge, I'm trying to use up my tallow and kind of conserve my oil. So in the background there, I'm just getting some broccoli into my steamer basket, and we're just going to throw that into the microwave and just steam that. Guys, I really wish I had one of those stainless steel pot steamer baskets, but I don't. So unfortunately right now, we're just going to use the Tupperware in the microwave. So we're gonna get the chicken cooked, and we wanna make sure that that chicken is completely cooked through. And on the other stovetop, I have a pot of boiling water. We're gonna add some salt to that, and just we're gonna add some noodles. I always change up the kind of noodles that I use. This particular night, I was craving bow tie, so made some bow tie noodles. So once that chicken was done, I'm just gonna remove it from that skillet and set it aside. So we're gonna make our Alfredo sauce. So what you wanna do is take 1 stick of butter, or half a cup of butter, and you wanna want to get that melted into a saucepan. Then you're going to take 1 cup of cream. I have definitely used just a regular whole milk in this, and I've even used an almond milk, and it works perfectly fine. Cream just tends to make it a tad bit thicker, so if you want a really thick sauce, use a good heavy cream in this. And then we're going to add 1 cup of a grated Parmesan cheese to this. I just use the finely grated stuff, and you're just going to whisk that until it is all incorporated. And then I like to add garlic to this. We love garlic, so I add a hefty amount of garlic. And then we're just going to stir that together and just leave it until it starts to thicken. I'm going to rinse my noodles off pretty good because I don't really want any of that starchy pasta water on there, and we're going to set them aside in a bowl. So now that everything is starting to melt in this sauce, I am going to just add some salt and pepper to this. Now, I did notice that this sauce was actually getting a tad bit too thick for me, so I came in and actually added a touch bit of milk to this just to kind of thin it out, which was a mistake because I should have just left it. It was actually not as thick as I thought it was. It ended up being like really, really runny, but that's fine. It was still delicious. So we're going to get everything assembled now. We're going to take our chicken and add that to the bowl with the noodles. We're going to take our steamed broccoli and again, just add that in. And then we're going to pour that really runny Alfredo sauce over top of everything. And you just want to mix it and incorporate it. I'm going to add some salt and pepper to this as well. One thing I also like adding, but I completely forgot to do this night, is I love to put some Italian seasoning, like the herb blend, on this as well. It's so delicious. This is one of my most favorite meals. I used to make this a lot when the kids were younger, but instead of making the Alfredo sauce, I actually just used the packets of Alfredo sauce. But then I discovered how easy it is to make your own Alfredo sauce, so I've definitely switched to doing that. Ooh, look at how beautiful they are. I am so excited. Some of them you can tell like I didn't mash the strawberries enough, but that's okay. It'll still be yummy. So we got 10 pints out of doubling that recipe. There we go. We got to get the shot of what they look like. Oh, so beautiful. I'm so excited. I have my dehydrator going over there because we got our apple slices in there. While I was waiting for those to finish canning, we got our dehydrator filled with some apple slices. So that project's gonna go all night. And then in the morning, I will have some delicious dried apple slices. Great, I forgot to show you guys how to even use this concentrate that we made. So this is 1 jar that we had left over that I didn't have room to fit into the canner. So we are gonna add that to a pitcher. And then this is our leftover foam stuff that we also had. I'm gonna add a pint into here. This is extra stuff. So the canning book says to make the juice, what you want to do is do equal parts the concentrate to equal parts water, ginger ale or tonic water, whatever you want to mix this with. So we put 1 pint of this in, so we're going to add 1 pint of water into here. I might do a little bit more because this might be a tad bit too sweet. Stir it. Just gonna add a touch bit more water. Should be good. There we go. We have our strawberry lemonade. I did try a little bit earlier, some of the leftover stuff, and it's really, really, really good. So super happy with this canning recipe. So that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love finding stuff in my freezer that I can can up into delicious recipes, especially stuff that was going bad. So again, that's the whole purpose of this pantry challenge, is to make sure that we are not having any food waste, because those strawberries, if I was not doing this pantry challenge, I probably wouldn't have been rummaging around in the freezer and found those to begin with. Well, actually that's a lie. I'm pretty organized. I probably would have found them. and then probably would have been mad at myself. Anyways, that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you on the next video. Bye guys.